Yeah, so climate change, is a bit of a political hot potato for sure. Agriculture will be at the front lines of climate change. Our viewpoint on our own personal farm is that, it represents an existential threat. And so, threats to your livelihood are threats you need to take serious. My name is Desmarais. I'm a fourth generation hop grower here in the Yakima Valley. Been doing this my whole life. Went to Washington State University, got a degree in ag econ, came back and bugged my parents enough to let me keep farming hops. The reason hops grow so well in the Yakima Valley is we have this unique combination of being a very far north desert. And so hops need an ideal day length to trigger their growth and reproductive cycles appropriately. This hot, dry desert climate this far north, coupled with the day length being ideal. And then the other aspect is we have a Cascade Mountain Range that collects all that snow and water. And so then that provides irrigation for us through the summer. And so it's very, very difficult on a climate map to find areas like the Yakima Valley around the world. So that's getting closer to what it looks like when we harvest. Mm-hmm. And so the machine that I was showing you, what it does, it does that. Mm. So what you're left with in the kiln is just that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If you just take one, and what you do is I just hold it like this, and just split it, and then just rub it together, and then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, it's mild. It's really mild still, though.
So how many different varieties do you grow?
We grow 14.
Okay.
That's probably a few more than the average grower. I would say most growers are probably in the 9 to 10 average. There's at least 150 commercial hop varieties. Typically, it takes 3 to 4 different varieties of hops to get to the complexity needed in the beer that you're drinking. You wouldn't think there would be that much variation in aroma between the varieties, but it's pretty stark, the differences. And when you get pretty good at it, you can pick the hop out in the beer. One of the great beers made out of Centennial is by a company called Bell's Brewing back in Michigan, and they have a beer called Two-Hearted Ale.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Two-Hearted Ale is 100% with Centennial. Another really hot variety right now is called Citra, and any Citra beers, you can get the aroma out of the cone, and you can almost pick it right out of the beer. To harvest, we field cut them with automatic cutters. We collect the vines, bring them back to a stationary picker. The cones are dried down to 8% moisture, compressed into 200-pound bales, and from there they're moved up to higher levels of processing, whether it be pellets, extract, powders, all different forms that brewers use to make their individual beers. But really 2015, as in my hop growing career, was the one that was the most serious that we've experienced. And to get to a 2015 scenario, what needs to happen? You need to go into the fall with reservoir storage being lower than normal, which we did. And then we had a dry, almost no snow winter. The snowpack was maybe 20–25% of normal. It was an early, hot, dry spring and summer as well. But that year, all three things were in catastrophic kind of areas, and so it was very challenging to deal with it. We spent a considerable sum of money in a very short period of time trying to mitigate these things, and it was stressful. There was crop damage. There was hop yards that we didn't have to, but some were left completely idle, weren't farmed. At least for our farm, 2015 showed us where our weaknesses were, the fragility of certain systems, and where we needed to be. So definitely working aggressively to mitigate that. Things that threaten your very existence need to be taken serious, even if it's unclear slightly, or if it's out in the future. There's things we can do that help mitigate the climate change risk moving forward for us that also make our farm better. The hop killing process is a really energy intensive process, both electricity wise and fuel usage wise. When we put our second farm in, that was in 2016, we actually implemented a German drying system, which is about 20% more fuel efficient than the existing US system. We can apply some of the things we're learning there into this US system to make it more efficient. We did a bunch of testing last year to try and get the air to flow more efficiently. And if the air can flow more efficiently, we can dry it faster using much less fuel. Our biggest risk in the short term is our water supply. The Cascade Mountain Range, we have 5 reservoirs up there, irrigation reservoirs, and I think what they call the snowpack would be considered the 6th reservoir. The modeling we've seen from UW indicates that overall, our moisture in the Pacific Northwest is likely to increase with climate change, but highly likely that it'll be more in the form of rain and less snow. To help mitigate some of these effects, it's making these irrigation delivery systems as efficient as you can. And so this is a brand new investment this year. This we're really proud of. I mean, this we put a lot of thought and work and effort into it. I get more pleasure out of this than a brand new truck, yes, which is probably, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
depends who you ask, I suppose.
Yeah, it depends who you ask. So we have small acreages of fruit as well. Cherries, apricots, nectarines, peaches, plums, pears, and apples. What we're really trying to get away from is where we need a ton of people for a very short amount of time. We view that as not being totally sustainable moving forward. So this farm, it's got all these different varieties on it because they all have different harvest maturities. So we can, like this farm, there's like 4 or 5 dedicated people here. They'll be harvesting something almost all summer. You know, our goal with this farm is all organic, try and keep it regional, distribute, you know, we self-pack, we pack the fruit ourselves. We bought a soft fruit farm because we wanted the labor diversity, not because we necessarily thought apricots or whatever were the way to go. It just, we've taught ourselves here in the last 3 or 4 years how to be apricot and peach and nectarine growers. I think millennials, that demographic is really instrumental in moving craft beer up the chain because they wanted complexity and fun and, you know, in their beers and stuff. And then they wanted their wine, they wanted their food. You know, so you're seeing this big movement back away from mass scale, industrialized, economies of scale, more to this de-commodification, more local, more fractured, that's all been very, very positive for us. If the same phenomenon happens globally with craft beer that happened in the United States, then there will be a need for quite a few more acres of hops. And so the Yakima Valley is ideally suited for it. We're able to grow hops much more efficiently than any place in the world. The good thing, as I will say, is the Yakima Valley, we have the ability to handle the challenge thanks to the Cascade Mountain Range. So I think the price of beer is fairly safe. So, yeah.